what the outcome is going to be. But welcome. Thank you for tuning in. You are right on time. Today is going to be a hot one. My guest gave us a hint from last Saturday. But before we get into the conversation of today, let's meet my guest. His name is Olumide Kayode Omoshebi. He is a lawyer and the CEO of Gnosis Initiative. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, good barrister. Good morning to you, Esquire.
Good morning.
Barrister Esquire.
He's always giving one kind of introduction that I don't understand.
At least I've not give you all the other many titles that you've been gifted on this show.
And good morning, Feta.
Yes, good morning, Feta.
Feta always keeps me listening to What's Up Lagos during the week. I think she's crazy, by the way.
I think we all know
people cannot.
It's an interesting combination of that.
People cannot be seen and do what they do.
Honestly, what did we talk about last week? Last week we did questions and answers, so we didn't really focus on anything in particular. But today, I think due to popular demand, because as you know, we garner new listeners every time, and we're super grateful. If you're tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. And because of that, there are certain things that would have to be repeated on the show, right? Before now, maybe last year or 2 years ago even, we had a whole series on character traits to avoid in a relationship, and my guest came up with about 7 traits. Right, that we should avoid. Thank you so much for that. When looking out for partners, and this conversation has come up again in recent times, and a lot of you, because you're just tuning in or you joined us in recent times, are not familiar with that conversation. So my guest has decided to let's talk about those topics and get those traits. And today we bring up another trait, which is the stingy one. Whenever this comes up, I like to refer to it as akago. I would call it in my language, which is Igbo. But let me allow the barrister to go ahead before we get into it properly.
Yes, we have been talking about relationships, marriages, mainly under domestic violence and abuse. And I mentioned that for those especially considering a choice for a spouse, there are 7 character traits you cannot marry. It's always leads to problems, marital problems, domestic violence and abuse, and eventual separation and divorce. So Gordon Allport was one of the first to categorize personality and traits. He created a list of more than 4,000 personality traits. Later, another psychologist, Raymond Cattell, narrowed down this expensive list to 16. And over the years, various psychologists have expressed various views about personality and character traits. The debate over these character traits still continues till today. However, after 20 years of social work and research, that is of mine, on victims of domestic violence and abuse, I have come to identify 7 traits that one cannot marry. The presence of these character traits in a person makes higher the probability for a failed marriage, and also comes with components of domestic violence and abuse. The traits are a jealous spouse, the proud, the stingy, jobless, the liar, the hot-tempered, and the malicious. So today I will talk about the stingy one. The word stingy is an adjective, which means it describes a noun or a person, or the Oxford Dictionary defines it as mean and ungenerous. Mean, that is, to be stingy is to be mean and ungenerous. Merriam-Webster defines it as stingy, niggardly, parsimonious, penurious, miserly, mean, being unwilling or showing unwillingness to share with others. Vocabulary.com defines stingy as uncharitable, lacking love and generosity, beggarly, mean and cheap. So the adjective stingy, that adjective stingy is so peculiar that various dictionaries and encyclopedias define it by synonyms rather than explain it with words, which means it can only be imagined and best described through the eyes of its victims. So Stingy means being unwilling to share with others. It is marked by a lack of generosity, reluctant to part with money or goods. Stingy people are referred to as unkind and fair. Now, there's a difference between when someone doesn't give because they don't have. You can't give what you don't have. However, a stingy person has, but is unwilling to give. Some social scientists believe that stingy predominantly comes from poverty. That is, people that grew up in from a poor home. But I don't agree with this, because we have people that come from rich homes that are stingy. So I think it is more, in my view, it is more of an inherent character trait than a state of a person's bank account. Now, let's talk about how a stingy partner is. They don't really spend on their partner. They don't spend on their family. They see celebrations of birthdays, anniversaries, and other events as a waste of money. There are hardly any surprises or special occasions with a stingy person, because they don't believe in buying gifts or surprising a partner or doing anything special. The number one thing about them is they always complain that they don't have money. Now, stingy people cannot love. They only cohabit, because the trademark of love is to give. You cannot love someone and have what the person needs, and you will still be unwilling to help. When, for Christians, the Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave. You have to be able to give. The moment you are with somebody who finds it difficult to give, who is not that you are asking, but they are not empathic or sympathetic to whatever you have, all they know is that they don't have. Those kinds of relationships that everything is okay until you need something. That is when problem will come. When you just say, you need this, or maybe your money is not enough. I don't have. They always don't have. That man comes to see you, that woman comes to see you, not with a loaf of bread. They are selling bread down the street. It will pass just even bread to come and visit someone. They will not buy. A stingy man can go hungry so that you don't ask them for food. So before you finish talking, you say, even me, I never chop since. So that you don't even bother going to, you are hungry. A stingy man will not even spend on himself. So how much more can he spend on you? How can someone who doesn't love himself love you? It is very important that you understand that stingy people cannot love. It is not possible. Because to love is to give, but they are incapable, they are unwilling. Except for variations where the wife is independent of the husband financially. But if you want to know a stingy man, look at his wife. And if you want to know a stingy woman, look at her children. Being stingy is financial insecurity. Marriage to them leads to frustration, as their spouses always end up inheriting bills and debts. They end up paying for everything because their partners simply will never have money. It's the school fees, or the school fees of the children, again, is another term, is 150. Me is 50,000 I have, or 60,000. So how are we going to do? They just never. You will be the one doing the extra work to always cover up rent. I don't have, they just don't have. Proverbs 23 verse 6 tells you, do not eat the bread of a stingy man, and do not desire his delicacies, for he is keeping track, inwardly counting the cost. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. There was a case many years ago of an aged gentleman who I know. Well, he was very ill, and he had to be flown out of the country to India for treatment. He kept pleading with families and family members and relatives to help. The operation at that time, this was about 17 years ago, would cost 6 million naira, and the family, everybody ran around, were able to raise 4 million, and pleaded with the hospital in India to allow a deposit of 4 million, that while they would be doing the procedure, we would have raised the remaining 2 million and paid. It took about a week for the hospital to respond positively. Meanwhile, by that time, his condition had deteriorated so bad. So while trying to get him to the airport, he became very critical, and before they could get on the plane, he had passed away.
Tragic.
And then some had already transferred 4 million naira to India. So on the second month of his mourning, as a Yoruba wife, you are not really allowed to, you have to stay indoors during the time of mourning. So she was cleaning the room when his phone beeped and, a text message came. And she wondered who would still be trying to reach her husband. Everybody knows he's dead, so who is still sending text messages? So she picked the phone, and then it was the bank deducting their account maintenance fees and all that. So when all that information came, and then they sent the balance of her husband's money in the bank. Ladies and gentlemen, he had 32 million naira in his account, meaning he had enough money to pay for his own surgery 5 times over.
I'm quiet because I don't know if this story would ever make sense, because I wonder why one would watch themselves die
A stingy
when
person
they have the answer to their
is
problem.
stingy to their own selves. You can look at their wardrobe and know. They won't even buy good shoes. Now, as a spouse, the day you spend maybe 20,000 naira to buy a shoe, you will not hear the end of it. They will keep telling you, how can you spend this amount of money on just one shoe? Some people have not eaten. You are still, some people are spending 20. They would make such a big deal of the fact that even to themselves, look at their food, it's very basic. Their rice is just plain rice. Their stew is just plain stew. They are stingy to their own selves. Now, when you are with someone and you see that they are stingy, listen, they cannot love you. Even in business, you cannot do business with a stingy person. They are buying goods. They have money to pay for the goods, but no, they will pay in bits. They will spoil the money in your hands.
Yeah.
A stingy person is someone that, it cannot work. Once you see this, you leave. Now we go to a phenomenon called emotional stinginess. Yes, that is something that a nomenclature that has just come up of recent times. Yes, the word emotional here is also an adjective, which means it describes a person, gotten from the word emotion, which is totally about your feelings, joy, anger, fear, derived from your circumstance or situation. So emotional stinginess means someone who is unwilling to give their feelings of sympathy, empathy, affection to a partner. When you are reluctant to praise others, but you dwell on their flaws, no sharing or giving attitude, no display of empathy, no support, no encouragement, no acknowledgement, no compliment to your spouse. Some people cannot even say, oh, you look beautiful today. It's a way of manipulating a partner by withholding affection. It is a tool of control because the other partner seeks your approval. They want to do something, you just shrug it off. They dress well to catch your attention, you just look. And then it puts an enormous burden on your partner to try to please you. It is called emotional stinginess. When you are sad, they are not there. When you need that encouragement, they are not just there. They are just not there emotionally. They withhold it on purpose. So what emotional stinginess and then stinginess as a whole does to a spouse or a partner is to make them emotionally vulnerable. So when you are married to a stingy man, it would increase the possibility of you having an extramarital affair. Why? Because you are emotionally drained. You are tired. You are doing everything, they do nothing. And these people, when you want to know the effects of being with a stingy person, if anything happens, like a death of a spouse, they don't grieve or mourn, they just move on. Very briefly, yeah. Why? Because they cannot love. They don't feel it the way you. What they are hoarders. Two, there are some that emotional stinginess, they never compliment you.
So what is do we know the root cause of stinginess?
I think it's inherent. It is people are just like that. So let me tell you how emotions affect the health of various body organs. Various body organs. Happiness affects the heart. That is why when something happens, they say you have a heartbreak. Anxiety affects the lungs and large intestines. Fear affects the kidneys. Pensiveness, deep thought, deep emotions affect the spleen. So it is important that you be in a good relationship. Please avoid stingy people. A variation to stingy is the selfish character trait. Stingy is I am not unwilling to give. Selfish is it is all about me. Selfish people, according to Merriam-Webster, are concerned excessively or exclusively with their self, seeking concentration on their own advantage or pleasure. So when you're in a relationship with someone that they are the center of their own focus, they will refuse to share or give all themselves to you. You see them dressed exclusively, looking beautiful, but it does not show on their partner or their children. They drive good cars. A man is driving a very good car. You see the wife driving a rickety car without. They don't really, it's all about them. They would go get themselves food, eat outside in good restaurants, but they don't really care whether their family has eaten. They just give a miserly form. You see them eat like kings and queens while their family are just eating basics. Even sexually, as long as they've reached their peak or climax, they just roll over. They don't care whether the partner is satisfied. It's just about them. They are self-centered. It's all about them. They are materialistic. They value material acquisitions, and they use manipulations to get what they want. They lack empathy or sympathy. It is all about them, and they are very controlling people. They are very controlling. You need to understand. James chapter 3:16 tells you, for where you have malice and selfish ambition, you will find disorder and every evil practice. Where you are selfish and you have people that are stingy. Let me tell you a quick story. I had a friend who left his home and moved into mine for 3 months. He just left, he moved. He said he had enough. 10-year marriage with 3 kids. He says his wife is so, that even to touch his wife, she will tell you to choose 3 days in the month. So there's a calendar in their room, you will choose the date. And even when you choose 3 dates, it is not guaranteed that the 3 dates, what broke the camel's back was the wife earns 3 times his salary. He's a federal worker, but it is his house. And, he pays the school fees and takes care of the feeding of the house. So he did a particular investment which he thought would have paid by a certain time. And the investment did not pay. It was now the time for the children school fees, to resume, to pay his children's school fees. And he asked his wife to borrow him the money for their school fees that, he did an investment. She was aware. And she refused that she doesn't have. You know what? The children were home for 1 term. How the wife would wake up every morning, go to work, seeing the children at home for 1 term. And she had the money to pay, but she just will not. You say, it's not a duty to pay. You have to pay, and it broke him. And
couldn't even loan him.
He said he will pay back.
Collect the money back, which is wrong, even because these are your children.
This broke him because he said, "Listen, you are not giving me the money. You are paying for your own children that don't even give me. Pay to the school." She did not. The children were home for 1 term.
That's terrible.
So when you are with a selfish spouse, there is a problem. Because it is all about them. So here, let me end. Traits not to marry. You cannot be with a stingy or selfish partner. Yes. So, how many minutes do we have? We still good?
I have a few minutes to break after we go on a break real quick. So we'll keep that call to after the break just to be on the safe side. It's interesting because a WhatsApp message is coming, but it's similar to what you were saying already. This person would like to remain anonymous, and he says, that he knows a stingy man who will spend on himself, go out of his way to spend on friends and extended family members, but not on his immediate family, even in sickness. He likes showing off. I don't even know if that's stinginess.
No, that's not.
That's wickedness.
That is being selfish. A stingy person would not even spend on their own selves.
My goodness.
So,
Even at the point of sickness, nah, I don't get it. I feel like there should be some type of psychological evaluation to go on to understand why anybody would do that.
it is amazing.
Issues.
Okay,
Issues.
I want to. Do I have time to discuss briefly before we go?
Very briefly.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there is a matter I would want to bring to the fore. I was invited by the Nigerian Bar Association Ikorodu Domestic Violence Committee on an investigation of fact-finding matter as regards the death of one Mrs. Janet Obasi at Imota Police Station in Ikorodu. So I got to Ikorodu NBA, that was at the High Court at their office, and followed their boss to Imota Police Station. A group of about 15 to 20 lawyers, and we met the DCO of the station as the DPO was absent. The story was that a woman was beaten by the father of her children. That was the information we had, that she was beaten by the father of her children, along with her, the man's younger brother and his wife. He had been with this woman, but went to marry another woman, and she went to meet him at his house for the first time to ask for the upkeep of the children. She had a 7-month-old baby and a 2-year-old. So the man beat her instead, along with his younger brother and the new wife. And as they beat her, she called the police station at Imota and made her way there, carrying her 7. All right, thank you very much, Madam. So, like I said, I was invited by the Nigerian Bar Association Ikorodu branch, the Domestic Violence Committee, on a fact-finding mission, let me say, a fact-finding visit to the Imota Police Station in Ikorodu. So, the information we had was that the deceased went to see the father of her children, who had married another woman, and she had 2 children for him, like 2 years. One was 2 years older, the older, and the second was just 7 months old, which she carried. And when she got there, the information we had was that the father of her child, his younger brother, and the wife descended on her and beat her up while she was carrying the child. So she made a call to the Imota Police Station, ran there, made her way there. While getting close, she had already called the police station, as she had made other reports to the same police station of the domestic violence, the beatings and all that from this gentleman. On getting to the police station, after a while, we heard that while she was talking to one of the IPOs, she was bleeding profusely. Eventually, she dropped and died in the police station, carrying her 7-month-old baby. So we went there to find out. This happened on the 9th of April. This happened on the 9th of April. But what was very puzzling was that we went on the 25th of April, as there had been no arrests, no information, nothing on this woman who died. And on getting there, we got into more confusion, as they said that she was brought in dead. I mean, if she was dead, how do you take a corpse into the police station? You cannot bring a corpse, brought in dead is a term for the hospital, not a police station. A dead person cannot walk into the police station. So it means she was at the police station when she died. And they said she was brought in dead at 7 p.m. or something by one of the officers. And we went with the mother, father, and the children of the deceased. And the mother got up to show that she still made a call to her daughter at 9 p.m., meaning she did not die at 7, because her phone records showed that she spoke for about 7 minutes with her daughter at 9. So these were conflicting details. But the issue here was that a woman died. Secondly, they said something also intriguing, that because nobody had come to make a complaint, so there was no arrest. But my point is, a woman dies in your police station carrying a 7-month-old baby. You said you can't say domestic violence because there was no bruise, no cuts, and the picture that the father had taken of his child had blood all over. She was bleeding from the mouth, she was bleeding from the nose. So we enlarged
the other wife that did this to her.
The man, that is the father of her child, his younger brother, and his wife. So the fact-finding mission led to an obvious misinformation and most likely an attempt by some people to cover up the death of this woman. It's amazing that for 2 weeks, and now they carried the corpse. The following day, that is, it was a Sunday, Monday morning, they called her father. They got his number through her phone, and then just called the man at 7 a.m. to come and pick the corpse of his daughter. And he was like, the daughter, what happened? Someone that we still spoke to, like 9, and she got up, and he was told to come to Imota police station. And by the time he was on his way, he got a call again from the IPO that he should meet them at the junction, one roundabout there. And there he got there. They were blaring their sirens, and he saw the corpse of his daughter with blood all over. And he took a picture and was trying to ask, and they were like, he had to pay to fuel the car to carry to a mortuary. But they did not take the body to a mortuary in Ikorodu. They carried from Ikorodu to Yaba. Why? That was another curious question. Why is it that there are no mortuaries? You now come to Yaba and put in a mortuary and then give them a clearance to go and bury. That was it was just, the woman, Mrs. Janet Obasi, was the pastor of Mouthpiece of God Deliverance Ministry in Adamo, Ikorodu. So I want to quickly put her father on the phone. I want to call her father to probably enlighten us a little bit more on what happened. Yes, it is very, you know what it is? I keep telling that, listen, we are burying our children, we are burying our brothers and sisters. But let's hear from the father firsthand.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Onini Chiekumankama, currently calling you from 99.3 Nigeria Info. So you're live on radio right now. Thank you for joining and for picking our call.
Good morning, sir. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, sir? Okay, sir. Good morning, sir. This is Odumite. How are you, sir? We thank God. I want to, first of all, extend my condolence on the loss of your daughter. Nothing can compare to the pain of a father burying his own child. So first of all, please accept my condolence. Hello, are you there, sir? All right, sir. So please, would just like if you can tell us some of the things that happened on that day to the best of your knowledge.
Of the ministry, Majoda, and the disease.
Can you speak louder, sir?
Okay. My name is Pastor Carlo Obashi, of Seed of Faith Ministry, Majoda, Adamo, Ikorodu. Please, let Pastor Janet Kalobasi is my daughter. In 2020, my daughter had a contact with a law with a man called Uche Anyang of Mbano in Imo State. They were living together in the yard. And my daughter called me and told me that somebody wants to fall in love with her, and this is his name. So I said, okay, now why you want to fall in love with somebody you don't know where he is and where he's living, you don't know his character. And they were living in the same yard, though, opposite to each other. Then when my daughter called me, then I called her again. I said, what is the next plan? He said that he don't know what to do as a woman. So he fell in love with that man, thinking that the man was a genuine type, and the man was full of selfish and wicked mind. All what she promised him to get with my daughter, he did not fulfill any of them. His motive was to come and bring her down in the ministry, to destroy the ministry, the work of God. So in 2020, there was a kind of a quarrel that comes up. Then we went to the Mota police station to settle the quarrel. But the police people at the Mota police station, they said that I should not disturb them, that they are of age, they are 18 years above, and I should stay my own name, and they will say that I should not interrupt them. When my second son went there to ask for the sister, the new China came out with force, starting my son with the brother, they started beating my son. So when my son came back, he told me, I said, okay. So right from that time, I didn't go to them again. I didn't know what they were doing because of the police instruction. So as time goes on, I learned that this my daughter was pregnant. And from that time, I don't know where Uche Anyanwu has taken my daughter to. I was only hearing the voice of my daughter. And that same 2024, there was a kind of a prayer he made to somebody, and the person came to show appreciation to her with a sum of 4.7 million naira, which my daughter told me that she gave it to Uche, that Uche said he want to go and build a house for her because she was pregnant for the first daughter. So after that, when my mother get put to bed, I went there to greet her. So Uche came and started fighting one day again. That's why she went.
So, sorry, you said that she made 4.7 million naira. Yeah. And the man came. Okay. Million naira. Wow.
My daughter has put to bed. She cannot go out. So according to what my daughter told me now, at the end, Uche was receiving her. He didn't do any house. So that he used that money to go and build his own house where he's living at Okelabi, Adamo.
Okay. All right, sir. Let's not mention the address of the house, please.
And my daughter called me and said that he wants to my house and said that he wants to go and see one of our members in the hospital because she had an operation of fibroids. Fibroids. So when she went.
Okay, sir. Can we move along a little faster, sir?
On her way going, she changed her mind and go to Uche's house. I don't know whether she was going to discuss about the school fees of the children because because the children for Uche have not been taken care. So on that special Sunday, my wife called Janet and said, the children that you left for that the daughter, the first daughter is student. So he said that she should take her to pharmacy, that she's coming back every early in the morning on Monday. So on that Monday morning, I had a call from police station in Mota And they said that, do I know who is called Janet? I said, yeah, Janet is my daughter. He said, okay, if I'm the father, I should rush now that Janet is dead. So I was confused. I was weak. I still said, how manage? My daughter told me that he's going to somewhere, not go to police station. How manage? So when I decided I should come immediately, I just had to dress up. As I was dressing up, they called me again that I should not come again, that I should wait for them at Adamo bus stop, that they are bringing the cops to come and meet me there. So in about 3 to 4 minutes, I saw the motor coming. So when the motor was coming, they dropped very close to me, and they said that when they saw me, they said I should go at the back of the motor, that I will see the dead body of my daughter. I said, so when I went and see the dead body, my body, I can't hold myself. So I asked them how managed. They say, and I saw the dead body with full of blood. All her bodies were bruises, even the cut knife. I said, what happened? It was when my daughter was struggling to death, and they were trying to give her drip, and they were trying to guide the while the serious injury. I said, okay, now what are you going to do? They said they were taking my dead body to mainland hospital at the mortuary at Yaba. I said, why Yaba? They said that the mortuary at Ikorodu, that they have problem. And this was a police officer by name James and Chioma. They were the people at the scene. They have with their gun. So when we were going, on our way going, they said I should give them money to fuel the car. I gave them 5,000 to fuel the car. So when we drove to mortuary at Yaba, even the mortuary attendant said that when is the body so bruised? Did she have accident? They said, even Chioma and James said, it was when she was struggling to die. They had all the same injury. So from there now, they said we should take her into the mortuary side. So we went there. They said I should pay another 5,000 to clean the blood in her body. So I paid 5,000 to deposit that in the mortuary. I should be, and the embalmment will be 50,000, which has given them 30,000.
Okay, sir. So why was there there was no complaint to the police station about the death of your daughter? The IPOs. They told you not to file any charges. They told you not to make any report. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'm really sorry about what happened. Is mommy there, sir? Can I say a word to her, please? Good morning, ma'am. I'm really sorry about what happened to your daughter. It's really, I don't know how. I was with you, ma, on Wednesday. We went to the mortuary together to see your daughter. From Yoruba people cannot go and see their own daughter. But I saw, the pain and the anguish as we all were standing next to the corpse of your daughter. It's something I cannot even, it's not, we cannot wish that on any parent. I'm really sorry about that.
So sorry for your loss, man.
I don't know if you have anything to, if we can just hear from you briefly before we shut this down.
These two children for me, one is 7.
When she died, where was the 7? When she died at the police station, who took the child, the 7-month-old baby that she was carrying? So you now recovered the child from the DCO. We really have to go now. I'm really sorry, ma. I'm sure we will do our best to support you in this time. May God may her soul rest in peace, man. God comfort you and your family and her children that she left behind.
So sorry for your
So
loss.
sorry, ma.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Mr. Kylo Massey as well. Wow, that's very tragic.
Listen, I don't know. Someone came and was calling that when Barrister Olumide is talking, he's talking as if there is no hope. He's painting a bad picture. I tell you that every day we are losing people. Do you know what it is to bury your own dead? Your own child, your own sister, your own brother, your neighbor? She was 39. She was going to be 40 in August. Do we have about 2 or 3 minutes?
Very, very slim 3 minutes.
Okay, please, can we please, the second call, I would like to put on the line Mrs. Bemiho Elijah, that is the Vice Chairperson of the Nigerian Bar Association Ikorodu branch. She is the head of the Human Rights Committee, and it was on her invitation that I came to join them on that fact-finding visit. I hope the line behaves. We have about 2-3 minutes.
Doesn't seem to be dialing up, but I'll try again. Excuse me. Hopefully this connects successfully. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not even getting any feedback from the network service provider. So,
try
but if you're just tuning in, it's Relationship 360 where we discuss relationship issues. Okay, I think our line is ringing now.
Okay.
Yes, our line is ringing now. Hopefully she picks up successfully. But it's 99.3 Nigeria Info discussing relationship matters and a tragic story this morning from our guest. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Awesome. Good morning. My name is Boyini Chekmakama, calling you live from 99.3 Nigeria Info and Lagos. Thank you so much for picking our call. Of course.
Good morning.
I'll allow Barrister speak with you now.
Good morning. I really just had to call you to appreciate the work of the Nigerian Bar Association Ikorodu branch for inviting me and for picking up this case. It's just something. Oh my God.
Not sure what's going on with the network there. Quickly redial the number. We can do this before we need to go on our break in. A little over 2 minutes. Hopefully our guest picks up that 40